Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob from RGG, and I am going to be talking to you today about some Lovecraftian solo play. So I've been a fan of Graham Plowman, I think it's Plowman, on YouTube for quite some time. He's a composer on there who does a lot of different orchestra music that you can run during the background or in the background during gameplay. A lot of what he is focused on is the Cthulhu Mythos stuff, but he also has things for D&D, Ravenloft and stuff like that. The music is absolutely phenomenal, and it is my chosen go-to for music for the background for pretty much any of my games, unless it's set in the 80s. Then I just run an 80s playlist. But for any kind of horror game, whether it's fantasy, Lovecraftian, whatever, I always use his music. It's fantastic. And he just released this year a game book because he's a huge fan of not only the Cthulhu Mythos, but also of like the old fighting fantasy books, things like that. And he released The House on Sentinel Hill, which is a pretty hefty tome. And it's pretty neat. There. Comes in at 587 pages. And what this is a Lovecraftian horror game book, The House on Sentinel Hill by Graham Plowman. And this is his, as far as I know, first venture into doing game books. But this is for solo play. And in this day and age, I know there's a lot of people out there who talk about not having a group to play with, or because of the pandemic, you spend a lot of time playing alone. If you are somebody who will play solo games, or you're into Lovecraftian stuff, this is an amazing book. And I highly recommend it. I'm going to drop some links in the description to his YouTube channel. So, go subscribe and check out that music on there. You can buy the music, but you can also download his playlist and run them in the background of your games. They are phenomenal. Just amazing stuff. You won't be disappointed. I'm also going to drop a link to the Amazon link for this book, which is available in the Amazon US store and the UK store. And it is $11.99, right, for the paperback. And that's not bad. 580 something, almost 600 page game book for $12. You can get a hardback for $20. And I started to get the hardback, but the hardback was going to be 2 to 3 weeks to ship, is what it said on there. And I don't like waiting. I'm an instant gratification guy. The faster I can get it, the more I'm likely to buy that particular product. So I saw it on there for $11.99 for the paperback. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. Paperback's fine. For a book this size, I was a little worried about the paperback, but it's really well put together. I mean, it's perfect bound. It's really, really strong. It doesn't seem to be like it's going to come apart at all. So how does it work? All right, so it's actually very simple. The rules are about maybe 5 or 6 pages in the beginning of it. He opens up talking about what the book is. It's not an ordinary book. This is a gateway to a terrifying mystery where you decide the outcome. Inspired by the Cthulhu mythos of H.P. Lovecraft and other authors, it will test your resolve and your sanity. The year is 1926, and you play as Frank Winston, a writer and journalist working for the Arkham Gazette newspaper. Your main area of expertise lies in the unusual stories and happenings that no one else at the paper wishes to write about, unexplained events, and tales of local folklore and superstition. Though your persona is set, you can customize Frank's abilities for the coming investigation, and you will enter these on your investigator sheet. There are many terrifying dangers ahead, and only those who can overcome their deepest fears and fight bravely or avoid danger will survive. Be wary and be smart. Your investigation could come to an untimely end when you least expect it. You are not likely to succeed in your first, your second, possibly even your 10th attempt. If you manage to survive the horrors, you will come horrors to come with your health and mind reasonably in shape. You may still be forever changed when the story ends. And then it goes into rules of play, right? And it's very, very simple. You don't need much to play this. You need the book, which is $11.99. You need a pencil with an eraser. Ooh. You need 2d6. And you need either some notebook paper or the investigator sheet, which is in the book, but it's also a free download. It's like 4 pages in the book, but because of the size. But it's a free download off of his website, which is www.grahamplowman.com. And it's one of the first things on there is the free download for the character sheet. I downloaded it, printed out, like 5 or 6 copies just to just to be safe. But everything you need is on here. It's a very simple system where you have like dexterity, strength, perception. Then you have skill and health and composure, and then you have skills like or perception's a skill, stealth and combat. All of that health and composure start at 10, and you'll see on the sheet as you take damage, either strength body damage or mental damage, they go down, and you mark them off. And as they go down, you start taking modifiers to your rolls. I'll explain how that works in just a minute. So your strength, dexterity, strength, perception, stealth, and combat, which are right here at the top, all start at 6, and you are given 6 points to spend, and you list where you spent them, and then what your total is, and the current total over here, because this can change, hence the eraser, during the game. But you're given 6 points to spend on those, but none of your starting skills or attributes can be above 8. So the most you could put into one of them is 2. So my initial guy that I'm going to run is Dexterity 7, Strength 7, Perception 8, Stealth 7, and Combat 7. And then, of course, your Health and Composure both start off at 10. You have a place on the sheet to list any weapons, which you don't start with, but they will give you either a bonus to damage, sometimes also a bonus to your combat roll. You'll list that there. You start out with additional items. Your satchel has a newspaper article and a flashlight. Those are always on there. And other items you pick up get listed in here. And then you have journal entries for things that you find and how they affect you go in here. And you can list off any encounters that you've had with creatures or whatever here. And then you have Mythos Points. Mythos Points are when you do things that reveal the mythos to you, you gain Mythos Points. So they're the one thing that if you die, you go back and you reset. You can respend your points to make your character, like you say, okay, well, maybe I need to be better at Dex. So you dump your extra point into Dex. Things like that. You can rebuild that part of the character. Your Mythos Points, however, you're going to list in this column how many times you've played the mission or the game, and then of all those times combined, your current Mythos Points. So if you earned 10 the first time you played it, and then the second time you played it, you earned 10 more, then this is up to 20. Now that becomes important for when you finally succeed and beat the investigation. There's a chart in the back for beating the investigation. Let me see if I can flip to it real quick. All right, so back here on page 587, you now have your Mythos total, and you look at your total Mythos points, which is combined from how many times you played the game. And if you have 0 to 9, you are Mego food. If you have 10 to 14, you're just a brain in a cylinder. If you have 15 to 19, you're a hapless wanderer. If you have 20 to 29, you're an apprentice investigator. 30 to 39, a master investigator. 40 to 49, you're a delver into the mythos. And if you have 50 or more, you are a master of the Cthulhu mythos. The book also ends with a section on the making of House on Sentinel Hill, which is kind of like on a DVD where they show you how they made something or where the ideas came from. And he talks a bit about the artist that was used, which is fantastic, by the way. All the art in this book and on it. So you set your character up, which is fairly easy. You're spending 6 points to get started. And then, like the Choose Your Own Adventure or Endless Quest books of old, you start reading and making decisions. And sometimes your decisions will just be go left, go right, turn the knob, don't turn the knob. And whatever you choose, it'll tell you to go to such and such number paragraph, which is very much like Choose Your Own Adventure. You just go to the different paragraph that it tells you to go to. But then sometimes you'll have to fight things or use your abilities, your perception, to see if you find something, or you'll have to go into combat. And that's when the dice start to roll. And it's very, very simple. You have 2d6 that you roll, and you're going to roll these and add, if you're looking for something, it'll tell you what your target number is based on the difficulty. And you roll your perception plus 2d6, and you want to get whatever that difficulty is or lower, or whatever that total is or lower, and that means you succeeded. If you get above that, then that means you failed, and you don't pick up that piece of information. In combat, it's really simple. Like one-on-one combat, you versus cultist or monster or whatever, you're going to roll 2d6 plus your combat, all right? Plus, your 2d6 plus your combat, and then the opponent, you're going to roll 2d6 plus their combat, and whoever scores higher wins that round and does a point of damage to the other one. Now, this can be modified if you are using weapons, because certain weapons will give you a bonus to damage, and you could do more damage than normal. If your health or composure reach 0, your investigation's over. You have gone completely insane, lost your mind, or your body has been destroyed. There's one ending where I ended up standing on the surface of the sun for just a brief second before being completely, gone. So, it's really, really good. It has that Lovecraftian feel to it of a Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. And if you are having trouble getting a group together to play it, this can really scratch the itch. I found this to be really neat, and it doesn't just stop here. He actually, because he puts out soundtracks for all these other things, he put out a soundtrack specifically for this game. It's on YouTube. If you search for The House on Sentinel Hill, you will see it's a part 1 and part 2, and then he has a playlist that has part 1 and part 2 in it. But you can just, pop that on and then listen to it while you're reading this, and it really amps up the horror factor as you're playing the game. I'm really happy with this. I love the old Endless Quest books. I love the old Choose Your Own Adventure books. And I really love the old, you remember the old D&D Endless Quest? I think they were called Endless Quest books, but they had they had some that were just Choose Your Own Adventure style, and then they had some that actually had like a combat matrix in it, and you roll or you randomly determined a number for combat, things like that. Or if you played the old fighting fantasy books, this is that kind of book. And it's really simple, really fast. I learned how to play it in like 5 minutes. And for the price, man, $11.99, you can't beat that. That's awesome. Even if you want to wait a few weeks and get the hardcover for $20, that's still a really good deal for a 580-something page book. So if you like, again, the Cthulhu mythos, horror, things that go bump in the night, slimy tentacles, style horror, cosmic horror stuff, and you want to play an RPG and you can't get a group together for it, or you just want to play some by yourself. I mean, I have a group that would probably jump on playing a Call of Cthulhu game, anytime that I mentioned it. I obviously love Call of Cthulhu. I have tons of literature, not just from Lovecraft, but other writers as well. I have Call of Cthulhu, tons of Call of Cthulhu role-playing game stuff, Eldritch Tales for White Box, which is Call of Cthulhu White Box. I have Realms of Cthulhu, which is Savage Worlds Cthulhu. I have the Survive This Cthulhu source book for What the Shadows Hide, or In the Shadows Hide. I can never remember the name of that one. But this is really cool if you just want to kill some time by yourself and see how you do, and you enjoy those Choose Your Own Adventure style books, because you don't have to even do the combat. You can play through this just Choose Your Own Adventure style and get an end of a story out. It's set up either way. You don't have to do any of the dice rolling if you don't want to. So that's really cool. I am very, very pleased. Like I said, I've been a fan of Mr. Graham Plowman for a long time. Used his music in tons of my games. Downloaded pretty much everything he's put out there on YouTube. I'm actually going to buy some of his stuff so that I have it with me everywhere, not just when I'm online. But I'll put those links again in the description where you can get this off of Amazon for $12 and his YouTube channel if you're looking for some great music for background. And he has everything. He has Star Wars. He has all kinds of background music, but he has a lot of Cthulhu style and horror style music, and it's fantastic. I'm reading some other horror novels right now, actually, and I sit in the living room and read. My wife and kids are watching TV, and they were watching a show I don't care about, so I just put my headphones on and turned his playlist on, and it was a cultist playlist, but it just went right along with the story that I was reading. Of course, the story I was reading was dealing with cultists, so I guess maybe that's a thing. However, I just wanted to pop in here real quick, and I say real quick, it's 16 minutes, and let you know about this. This is fantastic. There are very few books that I get that, I mean, I know I say, you know, this game is good, this game is not good, whatever, but this game is really, really good, and I highly recommend it if you like that kind of Mythos gaming. If you don't like Lovecraftian lore or Cthulhu Mythos stuff, do not pick this up, because that is what this is. You will be sorely disappointed. So anyway, there you go. This is Rob checking in. I just wanted to let you guys know about this. This is fantastic. If you have picked it up and played through it, put in the comments. Let me know how your adventures went in it, and I'll try to do the same with mine. We'll see, you know, how many times it takes me to go through it before I can beat it. But yeah, also on the it'll be at the bottom of the description. I'll add in his YouTube, his Amazon, and then of course there's also, you know, my the link to my faith-based channel. There is the link to my Amazon wish list for this channel, and then there's the link to Rob's Game Group on Facebook, our page on there. So check out any of that, and until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.